So it looks like there's a change in the weather at Twitter, and the social justice warriors are at work once again, and that now criticizing feminism, or more particularly a feminist, will no longer be tolerated on Twitter, and that after they've suspended your account, if you want it back, you must promise them that you will no longer criticize that feminist. Further, it looks like Anita Sarkeesian is personally responsible for getting me suspended on Twitter, and this was done with the full agreement of Twitter. That is, Twitter were quite happy to silence legitimate criticism. Well, what's next, Twitter? Banning people who are pro-gun or anti-gun? Pro-life or pro-choice? Or how about religious or anti-religious? Or Republican or Democrat? Which of these people can and can't I criticize? And what about the people who hold those ideas? Can I criticize them for being dishonest? Or if I do, will you ban me like I was banned when I criticized a feminist who was repeatedly shown to be dishonest? So I got around to contesting my recent suspension, which I had figured was just triggered by some automated mechanism by some mass flagging campaign or something. But it turns out, no. Twitter got back to me and told me, "Hello, your account was suspended because it was found to be violating the Twitter rules, specifically our rules around participating in targeted abuse. If you would like to request your account to be restored, please confirm that you have read and understood the Twitter rules. Please note that further Twitter rule violations may result in permanent account suspension. We appreciate your cooperation going forwards. Thanks, Twitter Trust and Safety." Well, let's ignore the distinctly Department of Love type Orwellian sounding Twitter Department of Trust and Safety and take a look at those rules around participating in targeted abuse. Targeted abuse. You may not engage in targeted abuse or harassment. Some of the factors that we take into account when determining what conduct is considered to be targeted abuse or harassment are: if you are sending messages to a user from multiple accounts. Okay, well, it is definitely not that because I barely use the one account that I have. If the sole purpose of your account is sending abusive messages to others. Okay, well, it is definitely not that. If the reported behavior is one-sided or includes threats. Well, there was certainly no threats involved here, which means that the entire reason for my account being suspended is that the behavior was one-sided. And given the tweets I made over the last week or so, there is only one person who could have made this claim. Well, for starters, this certainly wasn't entirely one-sided, as Anita was perfectly happy to tweet out videos like Thunderfoot Busted, which even with the entire support of Anita Sarkeesian's following and PZ Myers' following, and no intervention from myself, got an organic rating of about 50%. Also, when she was claiming that she was getting all these threats, she chose to publish selectively ones that had my name in them. Now, she published an IP address with this, which came from England. However, the bizarre thing was that they used the American spelling of colour. Well, that or Anita and cohorts didn't know that the English spell colour with a U. And yeah, I'm not the only one that she badmouths by proxy. The Factual Feminists recently put out this video destroying Anita's arguments. And just so we're clear on the rough numbers, it's about 1/3 hits at the moment, 4,000 comments, and a 96% approval rating. Not bad for someone with about 20,000 subscribers, let alone a video that is essentially from a right-wing think tank. And that's all despite Anita and the gaming press's best efforts to sink this. And does Anita directly respond to this? Of course not. She does the badmouthing by proxy. She puts out this tweet with a response she calls funny, just like she did with me, and with the backing of the gaming press. And the result of Anita's support for this? A 54% approval rating. But actually, Anita, if you want to see how to do a real musical response, check this out.
And now, for all you crazy gamers out there who think there have never been enough female protagonist characters in gaming, a reality check. Jessica, Nona, Rosella, Alina, Hatsune Miku, Lioness, Mackenzie and Freya, and Beatrix and Eiko, Megurina, Luca, Celeste, then Miriam is Pac-Man, Red Alfia, Gurmi, then Nadia and Irene Liu, Yaka, then Isla, then Luca, then Blaze, Ronnie, Bell, and Eris, the version with Lena and Alice, Masuya, Baraduka, Tower of Dragas, Ishtar. So when they tell you they're not represented, kindly go tell them to learn about gaming, pick up a controller, and play.
Okay, so let's now take a look at my tweets immediately prior to my suspension, shall we? On the 12th, I made just one tweet, which was an automated tweet from my YouTube. I also retweeted a few things about how people claimed to have called the police department and could find no record of her filing a complaint about these threats of hers. On the 11th, I retweeted about 5 things about people becoming suspicious that she had just faked all of her death threats. I mean, how many game reviewers get real death threats? And made 2 tweets myself about how demanding the experiment that I was doing at the time was. And on the 9th, I uploaded a video about how, ironically, I was moving on from making videos about Anita Sarkeesian and made 3 other tweets about the radiation levels on a plane and so on. And that was enough to get me suspended from Twitter for participating in targeted abuse. Personally, I would call this Twitter activity incredibly reserved, seeing as some of the videos that I've made, like Anita Sarkeesian Busted, have pulled in about 1/3 hits, have over 5,000 comments, not to mention a 95% approval rating. You see, this is the thing, Twitter. The terms of service are generally so broadly written that they can allow or preclude almost any behavior. What matters is how Twitter enforces them, as that de facto determines what the rules mean. And from your actions, the rules now mean that you can be banned for the most vanilla criticism of a certain professional victim feminist, while allowing the most strident criticism of others.
Can it be my turn to punch Andy Dick until there's bones in his stool?
So this is my open letter to Twitter. I think that by any reasonable interpretation, I broke no rules and therefore should not have been suspended. And if that's the case, then please, by all means, reinstate my account. I think that I and many others would be saddened to find out that Twitter is moving down the lines that they will no longer support free speech to allow even the most vanilla criticism of a feminist who has said so many controversial things as Anita Sarkeesian.